YouTube, it is wonderful yet weird to be here. My name is Solaria, or as I'm commonly referred to as on Twitch, as Solaria75, and I'm a Twitch streamer that decided to give podcasting a try. Now, I know what you might be thinking, what's a Twitch streamer doing here on YouTube? Well, the truth is I wanted to bring more content to my viewers because of my very late stream schedule. Makes me quite sad that a lot of people can't come to my streams because I stream so late. Understandably, people have lives to, going on and things to do, completely understand. But I love being able to communicate and bring content to my community, so I thought this would be a better and different way to be able to bring more content to people. And not even to just people who can't watch my streams, to both the people who do catch my streams regularly and people who can't. So I thought this might be a cool idea, something new, something different to be able to, give a little bit more to my community. So speaking of my community, I wasn't really sure if this was something that I should do, something that people would be interested in, because like I mentioned before, I'm a Twitch streamer. So one of the appeals to streaming is being able to talk to that person live while they're playing a game or whatever. But with YouTube, it's quite different, especially when you just have a video. And this is not even a video, you're not even watching it, you're just listening to me talk. So I wasn't quite sure if this was going to be something that a lot of people were going to be interested in, because again of how different it is. You're not talking to me live, you're not watching me play a game, you're sitting here listening to me talk. So I was a little hesitant at first about doing this and giving it a shot, so I had asked my community if people would actually listen to a podcast run by me, and I was very flattered because a lot of people were very encouraging about it and wanted me to do it. They said, Sol, if you do it, I would love to listen to your podcast. This needs to be a thing. You should do it. Don't hesitate. When's the first one coming out? So I'm very flattered to have had the support from my community to be able to do this, especially since it's something new and something different. So I'm very excited to be able to give this a shot. And who knows, maybe this will be like a regular thing that I can do weekly, but who knows where it's going to go yet. I'm going to start maybe bi-weekly and see how things pan out. I'm still new to this, so bear with me. Things might be a little bit rocky, but as I learn, I can adjust things and be able to apply new things that I've learned to my podcast to be able to make them better. So yeah, huge thank you to everybody in my community who has given me amazing support. I'm very much looking forward to being able to bring this content to you, and I hope you are looking forward to hearing this content from me. I'm very excited to be doing this, and I hope you are all very excited to be able to listen to this. And I wouldn't have been here without any of you guys. So huge thank you again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for always having my back and supporting me through thick and thin. You guys are amazing, and I mean that. I mean it. Thank you all so much. So I decided to hold a poll for the community as to what topic I should even start with, and unsurprisingly, people wanted to hear me talk about video games! Wow! Imagine a Twitch streamer talking about video games. Who would have thought? But fitting enough for a first podcast, don't you think? So I've actually got quite a few things that I'm going to talk about in this podcast, so bear with me. I have a bit of a roadmap, so I kind of know where this is going. But we're just going to talk about some of the things that I've been up to, some of the games I've been playing, and maybe some of the things I'm going to be playing in the future. Alrighty, so let's just dive into talking about video games. Now this one, we're going to talk about games that I've been playing off-stream. And I laugh because it's kind of hard for me to start playing games just at the drop of the hat, and I don't understand why. It might be like a new world learning thing that to me I just find intimidating, but it actually does take a bit sometimes for me to just pick up a game and play it. Like, even for games I'm excited for. Now, this doesn't always happen. Like, with Super Mario Party, for me, it was, I got the game, I brought it home, and obviously I didn't play it right away because I wanted to play it when it was time to stream, but when it was time to stream, it was bam, it's Mario Party time. So, I don't understand why I do that. Like I said, it might be some world learning thing, but I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes it takes me a bit to be able to just start it. It's like, I just stare at it like, man, you're a great game. I know you are. But am I going to play you? Nah. So, it's something that I've gotten a lot better with. And actually, streaming has helped me a lot with it too. Because it's like, hey, I want to provide content to my viewers, right? So, I'm going to pick this game. And I'm going to play this game. And it's going to be great. And you're going to like it because you've been wanting to play this game for a while, but you just couldn't get yourself to do it. Sometimes I've had friends who have been able to help me with that too. They're like, hey, come on, play a game with me. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, come on, it'll be fun. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, sure. So, despite that, there have actually been quite a few games that I have been playing recently off stream, and that's been something very fun to do. Because not every game is a stream-worthy game, and I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's almost like picking a game to stream is a game in itself. Because you want to play a game that's going to be something you're going to enjoy, but you want it to be something that your chat is going to enjoy as well, or that's going to bring you viewers. Because if you're playing some, like, no-name title, you're not really going to get many people to come, except for the people who are, like, super loyal to you and will come to your stream no matter what. But usually that's not the norm. Usually people just come for a certain game or whatever. So it's really important to be able to figure out, like, which game you want to play that's going to be something you're both going to enjoy and that's going to also interest your audience. So sometimes for me, it's trying to pick that balance. Like, I'll look at a game and say, okay, this is probably a game that I'm going to be playing myself off stream, or, oh, this is definitely a game that I want to play for my viewers. So there's been a couple of games that I have been playing off stream as of late. And one of those games is none other than the newly released Super Kirby Clash. And guys, let me tell you something. I've been enjoying the heck out of this one. I've been playing with a couple of my friends, and it has just been so much fun. Kind of sucks that there's that gacha element, because they've got this, like, you know, gem apple system that, and you can buy some if you want to, but, like, come on. Really? You all know where that's gonna go. If, like, oh no, it's just $1. That's just another $1. Ooh, I really like how that looks. I'll just more money. And it's just gonna spiral down from there. And it kind of sucks because I really hate that concept in a game of, like, having to only play a certain amount of a game at a time. Because they have this system, like this vigor system, where it's kind of like energy. You have X amount of energy, and to do a quest, it takes X amount of vigor to do. And I've always hated that because it's very restrictive on the, you know, on how much you can play at a time. And it sucks. Because I just want to play it when I want to play it and not feel like I have to be restricted. And you're restricted by, like I said, vigor and gem apples. If you don't have enough, then either you gotta pay for it, or with vigor, you gotta wait. With gem apples, it's a little bit trickier. You have to earn them. And you can do other things. Like, by just playing it, you'll end up getting some eventually. And there's also, like, little mission requirements in each, like, stage that you can do. Like, get X medal, do it under X amount of time, do it with this class. And although that's okay, it still kind of sucks. So, definitely more fun to play with people, because playing online kind of sucks. Being able to connect to everybody is kind of a pain, but you'd expect that. Sometimes it's just hard, and, you know, the internet connection between everybody just doesn't really quite work out. So, it's been fun, but we'll see how long that lasts. I'm not too big on the gacha element. That always kind of, like I said before, sucks the fun out of it. So we're going to stay a little bit hopeful, but so far from what I've been playing, it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully I will keep having fun with it, but I guess it's just going to depend on how long my friends and I can keep constantly rotating between all of us being able to not run out of vigor, because every time you level up, you get your vigor back. So hopefully we won't run out, but we'll see how long we can end up going. So the next game that I've been playing off stream is actually a game called Crowntakers, and I found this to be a pretty interesting game. Now, I ripped some of the tags right off of the Steam page because I figured I didn't really know how to describe it pretty well, and Steam kind of already did it for me, so I just ripped the tags. Yoink, mine now. It's an RPG strategy roguelike permadeath kind of, and I'll go over why I say kind of in a minute. Turn-based, hex grid, and procedural generation. So I say kind of because there's two different modes in this game. There's a normal mode and an easy mode. Your normal mode is your permadeath. So once you fail, and you kind of gotta start over again. But with easy mode, you get to keep the XP that you earned. So you don't really lose much. You just gotta start over, but then you can just power through everything. And this is kind of one of those games where you really learn a lot as you go. So the more you play, the more you're gonna learn. My first playthrough did not do super well, but I was able to take that information that I gained from the first run and was able to apply it in the second one and the third one, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of funny because the game doesn't exactly hold your hand, like, at all. There is a jester who's kind of there, but he doesn't really tell you terribly much, and it's funny because I didn't talk to him the first time, which my friends will... I'm pretty notorious for that, because just look at my D&D character. He just goes in and hits things. That's kind of how I am in most games. I just kind of just run into things, and then when I start hitting walls, then I start asking the questions and trying to figure out where I go. But funny enough, when I talked to him, he didn't really give me much information, so it wasn't really like I was missing on too much anyway. But you definitely learn a lot from your previous playthroughs. Like, one of the times I went to an inn, and it was like, oh, you can rest here. And I was like, sick, I need HP back, so I'll get all my HP back. I was very sad when I found out that's not how you get HP back. Instead, when you rest, it refills this one bar at the top that gives you like a bit of a bonus for when it's full, and it decreases gradually over time, and you have to keep resting to be able to keep it full. To get HP back, you actually have to eat food. So you have to go to like an inn and go to a merchant and buy food, etc. So you really got to be stingy and be careful with how and when you're using your healing items, because you never know when you're going to get them. I mean, you can get them because from looting, you can go to other buildings and you can like loot them. You can search them for like 2 or 9 hours, and obviously if you search for 9 hours, you're going to find more stuff. Not necessarily better stuff, but you will find more stuff. And sometimes food is included in that. Sometimes you get food too from defeating units or enemies. You can get other stuff too that lets you upgrade your equipment, and other stuff like that, like a blacksmith, because they're open like 24/7. There is kind of like a day-night cycle, and it's not terribly important except for the fact that after you go through a day, your enemies get stronger, so you really got to be careful of how much you're moving and how much you're going around and doing things. If you backtrack, you're wasting time that you could have been spending trying to get to where you need to be, for example. I only have about like 2 hours into the game, so we're getting there. Could be doing a lot better, but I also could be doing worse. And like I said, I've been kind of learning as I've been going on, so it's just gonna get easier from here. But so far, I've been enjoying it. It's pretty fun, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it off stream. Alrighty, the next game on my list of games that I've been playing off stream, which is something that I've been playing for a long time, is a game called Armello. Now, bear with me, the section might get a little bit long because I really enjoy this game, and it's something that I really like to talk about, as I've taught many people, probably a handful of people, maybe I can probably count on 2 hands how many people I've helped coach through this game. It is one of my favorites, and it is something I really enjoy playing, so I'm probably going to gush a little bit about it and probably teach you guys the ropes too, in case you are interested in picking it up by the time that I am done talking about this game. That is how I've gotten quite a few of my friends into the game, actually, by just talking with them about it. I had a friend of mine, the 2 of us decided that we were going to hang out in one of the Discord servers that we're in together, and her and I were just playing together, and people were like, oh hey, people are in a voice chat, let's join and find out what's going on. And the 2 of us were just going through the game and talking about what's going on, and they're like, oh neat, what are you playing? And we told them it was Armello, and we started explaining a bit about it, and then just by us talking and interacting with each other, they got it too and decided to play it with us. So I've been able to coach many people through the game, and I've loved every single step of it. So I'm probably gonna gush a lot of it about this game, because there's a new DLC that just came out. It's the Dragon Clan, very cool clan, so I'm probably gonna go through the basics of most of the game and also talk about why the Dragon Clan is so cool. So the very basic fundamentals of this game is, so you've got the king, he's corrupted by the evil force in this world called the Rot, and you want to become the next ruler. Now, there's 4 different ways to be able to do this. The first way is to win by killing the king. So, you finish all your 5 quests, you got the key to the palace, you get in there, and you kill the king and you don't die. Done. You win. Second way is to banish the king. There are these stones that you get in-game. They're called the Spirit Stones. Once you get 4, you're known as the Spirit Walker. And eventually you can get into the palace, either by breaking in if you haven't done all your quests yet, or if you've done your last quest and you're on to the 5th one, which is just to get into the palace. Then you can just click on him, and he's banished, and you win. Third one, Rot Victory. My opinion, it's the hardest one, but the Dragon Clan has actually made it a little bit easier to get a Rot Victory, and I'll explain why later. And that is becoming more corrupted than the king. So your Rot value has to be higher than his, and you go into the palace, and you fight, and you win, and you kill him, you don't die, you become more rotten than the next ruler of Armello. Fourth one is the, to me, default way to win. It's the Prestige Victory. So Prestige Victory, you can get Prestige by going around and doing your quests, killing other players, sometimes defeating perils depending on if you've got equipment that allows you to get prestige when you do it, or just by killing Banes. So the king will lose health every dawn because of the rot. Any creature that has at least one rot will take damage at dawn except for the Dragon Clan. And again, I'll explain why later. So when someone goes in to kill the king, and they also die, but the king also dies in the process, whoever's the prestige leader wins, which is why I say it's the default way to win, because you will never have a game where nobody wins. There will always be a victor, and it's the one who's got the most prestige, which is why, again, I say that's the default way to win. Alrighty, well, now that we've talked about the different ways to win, let's talk about the clans. There are 6 different clans currently in the game of Armello. There's the Wolf Clan, which focuses on attacking, combat. There is the Rabbit Clan that focuses on treasure. There's the Rat Clan that focuses on money. There is the Bear Clan, which focuses on magic. You have the Bandit Clan, which is kind of a bit of everything. You can have different rings, for example. Each clan has their own special rings, and they each kind of take one from each clan. And then you have the Dragon Clan, which focuses on rot. And so the reason why I say it's been easier now to win a rot victory is because of the abilities of the Dragon Clan. They have an ability that, since their affinity is to the rot, they don't take rot damage at dawn. And that is huge, because, say for example, you keep taking damage every dawn because of rot, but then other players start attacking you because they don't want you getting to your goals, and you have to go back to your clan's ground, which is, where you start by default. But now, your quest is all the way on the other side of the map. Well, that's going to take you a lot of time to get back there, thus slowing you down. So not having to take that damage every dawn is huge. So you can be a little bit more tankier, and people will probably be like, oh, well, they've got full HP. I'm probably not going to be able to do anything. I have a little bit less HP, so I don't want to risk dying, so I'm just not going to challenge them, for example. So one of my favorite things about this game is that each character allows you to play the game a little bit differently. Each character has their own unique ability that is special to them. For example, I like playing the Wolf Clan a lot. Not surprisingly, Sol likes the clan that you can just hit things in and your problems are all solved. So my favorite from the Wolf Clan is probably Magna, and her hero ability allows her to gain Reflect anytime she burns a shield card in battle. So Reflect allows you to bounce one of your opponent's attacks back at you, which is pretty nice. So if they have a shield, for example, I can get rid of another shield from their combat shelf, or I can deal damage to them if they don't have any more shield. Well, since I brought up Reflect, I might as well talk about the opposite of Reflect, which is Pierce, which allows you to go through a shield. Fun fact, though, too, is if you have one Reflect and one Pierce in the same spot in the combat shelf, they'll just cancel each other out. Well, now that I brought up cards, I guess I'll talk a little bit about them. So there are 3 different decks that you can choose from. There's the Trickery deck, there is the Item deck, and there's the Magic deck. So each deck will obviously give you different cards. Items will give you things that you can use, things that you can equip. Magic are things that you can cast both to yourself, but also to other players that, depending on what the card is, can give you a buff, can give them a debuff, or just kind of place things around the board. And Trickery cards are also used to mess around with people and be able to take things from them. For example, there is a card that steals an equipment item and that they have equipped it and gives it to you. So each card has a symbol on the top right of it that correlates to a different spot on the die. There are 6 different symbols on the die. You have your sword, which counts as an attack. You have your shield, that counts as defense. You have your sun, that counts as an attack during the day and a miss at night. And you have your moon, which counts as an attack during the night, but a miss during the day. You have your wild, which counts as an attack while you're not corrupted, and will also reroll your die so you can get whatever else. And you also have the rot symbol, which counts as an attack when you're corrupted, and also gets you a reroll. But when you are not corrupted, it will count as a miss, just like how the wild will count for a miss when you are corrupted. And so one of the cool things about having cards is that you can burn them. So if I have a card that has a shield symbol on it, and I want to have some extra defense because either I don't really have much equipment or, oh man, this guy is allowed to die, I probably should make sure that I can actually tank the hits, I can take whatever card in my hand that has a shield symbol on it, and I can burn it. And that will be added to my hero shelf. And you can basically do this with any card. Sometimes it can be beneficial. If you just want to get rid of cards, you can just burn them just to burn them, even if you don't really need the symbol that matches it. So for example, if it's during the day and I have a card that's got a moon symbol, but I don't really want the card, I'll burn it anyway. Like, hey, I don't really care if I miss this die because I have a lot already, or I don't really care if I take a lot of damage, or my equipment's really good, whatever. I just want to get this out of my hand so I can get better cards. That's absolutely a viable strategy, and in fact, people do that a lot, especially at the beginning of the game, because you don't get to pick your hand. You are given whatever you are given RNG, which is usually a mix of cards. You usually get some trickery, some item, and some magic. But if you're like me and only really pick from the item deck, for me, I just like to try and get all those cards out of my hand right away and try to get as many item cards as I can so I can start getting good equipment and I can get some of the items that I need. So I'm going to jump back to the characters and talk about the stats. So there's the body stat, which is your HP. The fight, which is how many dice you get to roll in combat. There is the wits stat, which is how many cards you get to hold. And there is the spirit stat, which allows you to determine how far you can cast spells, but also what your reroll potential is. Now, this was something that they just changed, I want to say kind of recently. It used to be that you had an infinite explode pool, so you could just infinitely chain if you kept getting rerolls, but they decided to change that to keep the expectations of what would happen, I guess, more in check, because there were times where people who were expected to lose a fight, for example, would end up winning because they kept rerolling, and I guess people got upset about that, like, I should have won that fight! So League of Geeks decided to link the reroll stat to spirit. So that's how many times you can reroll. It's based on your spirit. Now for me, I really don't focus on the spirit stat too much. Not surprising because I don't pick from the spell deck and I like to go in and hit things. Actually fight things. So for me, spirit really isn't that big of a deal. Yeah, I kind of miss out on the reroll potential because usually if you've got characters who have high attack and body, they're going to have low spirit, but that doesn't really bother me much because I have enough die to compensate for the reroll anyway, and it's only a 6 chance that you'll get reroll anyway. So to me, it just kind of balances out. But with wits, I kind of like to keep that at around 5. 4 is kind of like my lowest I will go because I like having cards in my hand. I like being able to have stuff to burn if I need it or stuff to equip if I have it. So usually I like to keep it at 5. Again, 4 bare minimum, but anything below that is like a no. It needs to be higher than that. Sometimes when you get to 6, that's just a bit like too much. It's like I don't need that many cards. 5 is usually enough to suit my needs. And kind of the same with like fight. I like to keep my fight high so people won't mess with me. Like, hey, if you're gonna come mess with me, you have to deal with, like, 7 fight if you're fine with that. So it's kind of more of a way to keep people away from me. I'm not too aggressive in the game. I'm actually a pretty passive player, and I really only attack you if you keep coming after me. I will basically leave you alone. I'm the type of person who likes to stay away from everyone else and do my own thing. Just, like, leave me alone, let me do all my quests, and then let me win. I really start getting aggressive when people start coming after me and trying to prevent me from winning. And all my friends say all the time, oh my god, Sol always wins in Armello. Which, I mean, I do win a lot, but come on, I have like not 100. I have 400 hours in the game. It's to be expected that I know what I'm doing. Hell, I lost a lot when I first started playing. The first ever time I started playing Armello, my friend was like, oh, I will teach you everything, don't you worry. Threw me in the deep end, no idea what I was doing. I had even asked before I started playing if I should play the tutorial. I was like, nah, it'll be fine. It was an awful experience. So after my first game, I went into the tutorial, and it wasn't super helpful. They've actually done a really good job of making an amazing tutorial now. Back then, it wasn't super great. It was still decent, but when you have a lot going on and a lot to take in, it's kind of daunting. So I learned a lot as I played the game more and more, and I actually played a lot of matches before I won my first, so it can be a little bit discouraging when you're not winning, but it takes some time to get used to. But all my friends say that I win all the time, and I don't know, I guess. But there have been times where I've lost, so don't let them fool you on that one. So in addition to all of this stuff, you can also equip amulets and rings, and those help with stats or give you additional bonuses. Like, for example, one of the rings of the Wolf Clan, the Celestite, allows you to ignore mountain penalties. And I'll get into the tiles in a bit. But, so, mountains take 2 action points and you get 3. So, that can really hinder your movement around the board getting to your quest. So, it just makes it easier to have the Celestite, because you don't have to worry about that. You can just move as you please. So, there's things like that, or you can equip amulets that give you increases to stats. So, for example, like I talked about earlier, I don't like having a super low wit stat, but Magna, my favorite character to play as, her base wit stat is 3. So putting on the Think amulet gives me 1 more wit. So my base is now 4, so I can do 1 quest to get up to 5 where I like to be, and then I can just focus on body and fight the whole rest of the game until I am done and ready to fight the king. And so there's many different tiles on the board. There's your forest, which grant you stealth at night. There's your plains, which doesn't give you anything. There's swamp, that when you pass over them, you take 1 damage. There's stone circles that heal you if you're not corrupted. If you are corrupted and you walk into them, you will take your rot's worth of damage, and you will die. Most of the time. Sometimes no, but a lot of the times, to be corrupted, you have to have 5 rot. Usually that's enough to kill some creatures. If not, then you're pretty low on health. You have your mountains, which are -2 action points, like I mentioned earlier. And you also have settlements, and any claimed settlements that you have at dawn, you will get that amount of gold. So if I have 2 settlements plus my clan's ground, I will get 3 gold every dawn. Well, like I said, there's a lot to talk about in this game, and I guess it seems I missed a couple of things every so often because I found myself having to go back and re-record things. Anyway, so one of the things I forgot to mention is how quests work. So at the start of each of your turn, or after you've finished a quest, you get to pick which one you want to do, and each one has a different reward and a different stat upgrade. So usually you'll have one that gives a spirit stone, one that gives a treasure, or you will have one that gives you a follower. So I'll very quickly explain the difference between a treasure and a regular item card. And treasure cards are basically, they're a little bit more special. They give you better stats than regular run-of-the-mill equipment cards. So one of my favorite treasure cards, for example, is the Royal Shield, which allows you to have your suns and moons not count as misses. They count as defense instead. And to me, this is very crucial, because one of the strategies that I like to use is to minimize the amount of misses that I get. So by having the Royal Shield, I therefore only have 1 miss on the die. So, for example, if it's during the day and I attack someone or someone attacks me, and we're fighting, and I'm rolling a ton of moons, those moons will go to defense, and that's going to be a huge help in battle. So that's kind of why I like them. But anyway, so that can be one of their quest rewards, as well as followers. And followers are just, there's a little separate tab for them, so there's equipment and there's followers. And followers can just give you a little boost as well. Honestly, there are a lot of good follower cards, but if I had to pick one, I probably would say one of my favorite ones is the Alchemist. And the Alchemist is a card that gives +1 to a random stat, and that changes every turn. So sometimes it can be beneficial, even if it's not a stat you really want. Sometimes that extra help is exactly what you need to help you be able to either defeat a peril or defeat one of your enemies. So anyway, going back to the actual quest picking, at the very bottom there is a stat, and that's the one you're going to go for, and that will increase by 1 at the end of the quest, whether you succeed or you fail. And sometimes you don't really care about the reward. Sometimes I pick for what stat I actually want. The very rare occasions when it's the, ooh, I like that reward. So if it's like the Alchemist, for example, or if it's the Royal Shield, sometimes I will change what I want to go for to try and get that particular item, but usually I just go for the stat. And so when you go to face your quest, you will be met with 2 options. One is, hey, there's no anything, no trial, whatever. Here's your stat, but you don't get the reward for it. That's the easy way out. And sometimes, like I had mentioned earlier, you don't really care about what the reward is, so sometimes it's just more beneficial to go the easy way out. Like, oh, I don't care about the reward, so why bother going for the risk when I don't even want the reward? But then there are a lot of cases where, like, man, I really want the reward, so I'm going to risk it. So you go for the second option. And there's a penalty. A lot of the times it's minus HP. Sometimes it's minus prestige. Just depends on the quest. And whatever stat you are trying to increase will be your chances. So for example, say I have a character with 5 fight, and I'm going for a quest that increases my fight, I will have a 50% chance to succeed. And no matter if you go for the risky option or the safe option, you will always get that stat increased. And obviously on a success, you will get whatever reward you wanted. On a defeat, you will take whatever penalty that it gives you. And sometimes when you are questing and you get corrupted, your other option, instead of it being a spirit stone, it will be for rot, so you can go for that and it can help you with your rot gain. Like I mentioned earlier, I think usually it's +2, and you have to go again through the reward risk. So if you want more rot, then you're gonna have to try and succeed, and if not, you can just go for the safe option. Not guarantee that you'll get the rot, but you know. So I guess in all this excitement, I kind of forgot to really talk about what's so great about the Dragon Clan. As I mentioned before, maybe I didn't mention before, I don't remember, rot was the hardest way to win. Since the king gains rot every night, you have to be able to keep up with that rot gain. It's going to be really tough if not, because then you kind of can't confront the king if you've got 6 rot, for example, and he's got 7, because how a rot battle works, whoever's the more corrupted gets the other player's rot and die. You can see how that's a problem. If you go to fight the king and he's got 7 rot and you've got 6, he will get 6 additional die, and that's no joke. So you really need to be able to keep up the rot gain, which again can be pretty difficult. So one of the ways that it's easier for the Dragon Clan to keep up with that rot gain, like I said before, is the fact that they don't take damage at dawn, but also because they introduced a new amulet that's called the Ruin Amulet. Anytime you walk onto a settlement, instead of claiming it, you terrorize it, you gain a gold because you've terrorized it, and terrorizing just means that whoever the previous owner of it is no longer the owner of it anymore, and you don't even own it. You just get the 1 gold, but you also gain a rot anytime you do. So you don't need to fight anything. You don't need to get cards, because there are some cards you can equip or item cards that you can use that will give you rot. But going around towns and just terrorizing them is a pretty good way to gain rot. And you get rot too when you are corrupted by killing Banes, for example. When you kill them, you gain an extra rot when you do. And you also heal. If you had no idea how you healed before, because I mentioned before that when you enter into a stone circle, when you're not corrupted, you heal. But when you are corrupted, it's like, well, how do you heal? That's how you heal. By killing things. By killing anything. Even if it's not corrupted. Doesn't have to have any rot. If you kill something, you automatically heal for it. So that's kind of something new that the Dragon Clan has really brought to Armello, is just this idea of being more one with the rot. Because before, there really wasn't any clan that had any kind of affinity or any kind of association with the rot. It was always, you know, the Bear Clan with the wild, but there was never anything with rot. So this has been a pretty cool clan. Like, one of the hero abilities of one of the Dragon Clan members is that they actually get control over Banes. If you end your turn next to a Bane, he will control it, quote unquote. He can't decide where it will go, but it stays in place until something walks in a tile of it, and it will immediately attack it, no matter what time of day it is. Banes usually only attack at night, and you also have Kingsguard, who will move around and attack during the day. So if something goes within that tile, no matter what time of day it is, it'll attack you. So, pretty cool. The one Dragon Clan member that I really like, her name's Oksana. Her ability is that when she's in combat, she will take a magic card from your opponent's hand, burns it, and whatever symbol was on that card adds it to her own hero shelf. So that's pretty friggin' cool. I've been really enjoying playing as her, and I'm pretty looking forward to, I'm really looking forward to being able to play the other members of the clan, but so far they've just been such a cool addition to Armello. They have like their own lore that I haven't gotten to read, but it's been a pretty exciting change to Armello to be able to see this clan that is more close with the rot, since they never really touched too much on the rot before. So I'm looking forward to playing more as the Dragon Clan. And I think I've probably gone a little too on about Armello, so probably gonna end that here and go on to the next topic for this podcast. So after listening to me babble on about Armello, the next game that I wanted to touch a little bit on that I've been playing offline but also on stream is Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Now, I know I play this game a lot on stream, and it's because there's just so much to do. There are times where it's like, oh, I still have this village quest to do, might as well get it done because I have to do it, or, oh, there's something that someone else needs help with, sure, I can help them with that, or, ooh, I could make a new set for this, and ooh, I could make a new transmog for this because this has all my skills, but it's not cool together, it looks weird, so I'm just gonna make a new transmog set to be able to look how I want to. Oh, this is a deviant set, I need to fight the EX of that deviant, sure, I'll do it, and I'll have friends help me along the way as well. So there's just a lot that you can do in the game, both on your own and with friends. And you can always help other people too, like people who are random you don't know. You can always go into their hubs too and help them. So it's kind of like you always have something that you could be doing, which is why it's such a great game to play. Because, like I said, there's just so much to do. I haven't even done everything, and I've probably played like 300 hours of Genu, and I'm not nearly close enough to being done. There are so many weapons to craft. If you want to craft them all of a single type, that's going to take a long time, especially if you want to upgrade them all. If, different armors to craft, if you want to have certain skill sets, there's, and for different weapons too. Unless you just stick with one. Usually I stick with Insect Glaive, but I've been thinking about maybe like trying out different weapons. I have played a lot of different weapons in Monster Hunter World, but Genu is a little bit different to me. Old World versus New World. I'm more well versed with different weapons in New World than I am with Old World, and I kind of want to change that. So I might have to start building more armor sets and crafting new weapons, so that's going to take a lot of more hours of grinding and playing, and I've already done a lot of that, so I have access to a lot of materials already, but I'm probably going to need to go in and do more specifics for certain things. If I'm trying to get X monster's weapon, then I'm going to need to go and farm that if I haven't done so already. So yeah, not really too much more to say on Monster Hunter other than that. So, something I still enjoy playing, both on and off stream. It's something that I'm really happy that I've been able to get people to regularly come to stream and watch me play it, even though some of the times it's pretty boring, or I fight a lot of times on a certain monster. It's still something that is fun for me to do, especially when I just put on my own music and jam out and just hunt whatever I feel like doing. So, alright, we're going to go on to the next topic that I have planned for this podcast. Alrighty, so we're going to touch base on the games that I have been streaming. Again, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. This will be like the last little tidbit that I say about Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. I promise. So, like I said, it's one of those games that is still pretty fun to play, and sometimes even get my viewers involved in too. So, it's just been a fun experience, and I'm really glad that I was able to give it a shot. I've been able to help Josie with some of his Weapons for the Generations videos because of the game, so really happy that I was able to give it a shot, because I've honestly met so many awesome people by playing it on stream. Like, a lot of my community is there to watch me play Monster Hunter, and other games too. Some of the people from that community also swing by all the time and watch me play whatever else I'm streaming. But when I first started playing it, I really wasn't sure if it was going to be something that was going to benefit my channel. I wasn't sure how popular of a game it was, and I was willing to give it a shot anyway. But it actually turned out to be one of the biggest games for my channel. It has helped to grow my channel a significant amount, so that's honestly pretty cool, and I've really enjoyed that. So it's kind of why I still keep playing, is because it's something that I know a lot of people will come and see, and a lot of people will drop by and either sometimes play with me, or just watch and hang out and talk. So that's kind of why I still play it on stream, even though I joke that I'm not a variety streamer just because I play Generations all the time, even though I am a variety streamer and I still stream whatever, but a lot of the times if I don't know what I want to stream, I just default to Monster Hunter just because it's something that I know how to play, and I just can jump in and start wherever I need to start and just work on whatever I want to work on. So hopefully that'll be enough for Monster Hunter. There is another game that I still kind of need to finish in air quotes, because I've already beaten the game, and actually I beat the game before I even started streaming it, and that game is none other than one of my all-time favorite games, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've been 100%ing this game with the help of one of my moderators, Boss, for those of you who are in the community and come to my streams. Him and I have been going through this for a while now. It's been a long, lengthy process because we decided to do everything. The entire compendium, all the equipment, all of the upgrades, all the Koroks, every single one. And there's just a lot to do in the game itself. So I just went through and did like everything, which also includes the shrines and doing all the quests, both main and side quests, and getting all the medals of honor, all that jazz. And that I'm almost done with. I'm really close to being done. All I need to do is I have like probably less than, I think, 10 or 20 Korok seeds left. I just haven't found the time to be able to get with Boss and just do them. They're all marked on my map, so it's all good to go. But it would be an incredibly short Breath of the Wild stream, so I'm kind of trying to find like a good time to be able to squeeze that in and just be able to finish it, because I'm so close. All my hard work, literally hours of work, has gone into me running around and just trying to find all these things. So it's been a really long and awesome project to be working on, and I'm very excited it's almost done, and also very sad because it's been a lot of fun being able to interact and banter with Boss, because he has been a huge help, and I wanted to thank him again for helping me get through most of it, because going through the final trial of the sword was so stressful, and he was just always there to help me and help me keep my cool. So he's been a huge help, and that's why I want to finish it together with him. So hopefully we'll be able to finish that sometime soon. That's something I really want to get back to. And then him and I might actually be planning to do a 100% Master Mode run, because we're crazy. I originally was not going to go through Master Mode run, but I also wasn't planning on going through the Trial of Swords because I thought it would be too difficult for me, and I came out on top. I was able to do something I thought I wouldn't be able to do. And I don't want that to happen with Master Mode 2, is that, oh, it looks difficult and challenging, I didn't want to try it. So I'm probably going to try it. So Boss and I are probably going to be doing this together. He 100% in normal mode, and I was joking with him, like, oh, we should totally do it together. I'll, do Master Mode if you do it. So him and I might be going through it together and 100%ing that as well. Kind of like maybe, for me at least, would be a thing to do before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, but we'll see about that one. And part of me feels a bit bad that I've spent so much time streaming Breath of the Wild, because it was one of my games that if I didn't know what I was streaming, I would just pick up Breath of the Wild and just go with it, much like Monster Hunter nowadays. But it's just such a fabulous game. It's a wonderful game that has really just captivated me and just kept me wanting more. The art is wonderful, the music is stellar, and it's just a game that draws you in. And I think one of the reasons why I love it so much is because it's a game that's meant to be taken at your own pace, I feel. It's definitely a game that you're meant to make your own adventures with and do what you want. And Breath of the Wild will always hold a special place in my heart, not only because it's my first Zelda game, but also because of just how magical the experience has been for me. So one of the other games that I've been playing on stream has been my Nuzlocke, my first solo Nuzlocke, at that, of Alpha Sapphire. I say first because I have done a lot of, I don't know if you could call them Nuzlockes, they're a little bit like Nuzlockes and Soul Links, but they're tweaked a little bit. They have same rules from both of them, but we've made it a bit harder by adding only one type Pokemon, so you can only catch one certain type Pokemon. You have to use that type throughout your entire playthrough, and I've been doing this with Josie, and our friend Wooly, and our friend Loomber. We've been kind of going back and forth. First it was Josie, me, and Loomby, and then Loomby decided he didn't want to do them anymore, so then we decided to do them with Wooly, and then that kind of got all messy, so we decided to just, if we were going to do it again, it was just going to be a Josie and I thing. but then we haven't really done anything with that in particular, but have done another project, which I will talk about in a second, which is something that I would like to get back to. So I've been having some pretty good luck so far in the Nuzlocke, and now that I say that, the next time I stream it, it's gonna go to shit. Everything's gonna fall apart at the seams. But so far, I've only lost one Pokemon, and that was due to a misclick. So I think that's pretty damn good. If I didn't misclick, then I would have had no deaths so far. I have 7 gym badges. I've only failed to capture one Pokemon, and that's because it teleported away from me. So I've been doing pretty good. I caught Latios, rest in peace. I've caught Palkia and Dialga. So I've been doing pretty well. I have a really good solid team. I've had some of the Pokemon with me since the very beginning of the Nuzlocke, and they've just been so awesome and have been powerhouses that have just been able to carry me through the game, so I haven't really needed to change out my party terribly much, except for a couple exceptions. But I've pretty much stuck with the same party throughout the entire thing. And it's been pretty cool doing a Nuzlocke. Like I said, I hadn't really done one before, so I kind of wanted to do one by myself to get a better feel of it and see what it was like. And oh my god, it's so much fun. I love it. Very stressful, but it's also very fun. And I'm happy that I was able to give it a shot. And who knows, probably in the future I'll do another one. I might make things a little bit harder and actually try and do some Monotype runs doing it solo. Probably won't do Alpha Sapphire. Might try a different game. Might do something on the DS or GBA. We'll see what I feel like doing at the time. But I'll probably do some randomizer again and also randomize type to figure out what I'm going to be stuck with playing as. But it should all be fine and dandy, and that'll be something to work out later. But yeah, the Nuzlocke has just been such a great experience, and I'm really glad that I've been able to experience it with everybody. And everyone seems to have a blast too. Being there for me during my struggles when Pokemon almost die, or during the death of poor Latios. So it's been great, and I'm looking forward to finishing the Nuzlocke, because like I said, we're almost done, we're almost there. After the gym badge, after I get my 8th, then it'll be off to the Elite Four, and hopefully we'll have smooth sailing there, and we won't have any casualties, or very few casualties, and we can beat it. So, and if we do, then that would be my first Nuzlocke win. All the Monotype runs that we've done have always been busts. We have not actually gone to the Elite Four and been able to win. So this would be a good opportunity to actually get some wins in Nuzlocke Soul Links for me. So that'd be very cool if the first one that I got was actually by myself, and then I could go back and go with my friends through other ones and be able to hopefully beat those as well, because I will tell you, Monotype runs are very hard. You know, your opponent can have whatever it throws at you, and literally anything, but you only really have a couple of options. You have one type, and sometimes Pokemon just don't really have good move pools, and having a good move pool is very essential if you're only using one type. You have to be able to counteract other types. For example, if you have a fire type, you're going against a water, being able to learn something like Thunder Punch, for example, would be incredibly helpful, but a lot of Pokemon don't have that. A lot of Pokemon either have, like, normal or, like, for fire types, just fire type moves, and it's, like, very hard to be able to go against different matchups. So having Pokemon with very diverse move pools is very important. So hopefully I will gain some better skills in my Nuzlocke that I can bring over to Soul Links, because for me, I would always get pretty nervous about letting Pokemon die, and I would always ask for Josie. I would always ask him for advice and have him advise me, and that was more just to get some kind of a second opinion in case things went wrong or something happened. It wouldn't be like, oh, it was all my fault. You know, I asked for someone else's input, and it was like it's a team effort that we both failed because we made the wrong decision. But I don't want it to be like that, so hopefully I can bring skills that I have learned from this Nuzlocke onto my Soul Links, and hopefully I can be doing some Monotype runs more in the future. This is another fun project for me to talk about here. Stardew Valley is another game that I have been streaming, and I've been doing it co-op. So to give a little background of my Stardew Valley experience, I've actually played Stardew Valley before. I completed the community center, so I did a solo play and had a great time. I love farming sims. For me, like, when I was a kid growing up, Harvest Moon was my bread and butter. Like, I started off on the DS, then I played some of the ones on the GBA. I also played some on the GameCube and the Wii and the 3DS, and even Switch, even though that wasn't super great Harvest Moon game, they've been better games. Regardless, I love farming sim games. They're my jam. I decided that I wanted to play Stardew Valley again, and one of my moderators was like, oh yeah, well, I've played Stardew Valley, but I don't know, I didn't really care for it, I didn't really like it. And I was like, well, do you like Harvest Moon? He's like, yeah, I love Harvest Moon. I was like, well, then there is no reason why you wouldn't love Stardew Valley. So he was willing to give it a shot, and I was very elated because, again, Stardew Valley is a really fun game, and I really enjoy playing it and being able to create new memories, because it's just more, to me, it's more memorable when you're playing it with somebody else. Like anything. Whenever you're doing something with somebody else, you can create a lot more memories than you can by yourself, especially in a game like Stardew Valley. So I've already had a lot of great times playing with him. So I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the game that we have to go. We're already in fall, so we've been making some really good progress, but we have a lot to go. We've been doing slow progress with the with animals, actually. Usually when I do solo stuff, I really would get around to like getting livestock in summer, and we didn't get any until like fall. And we don't even have cows or anything. We don't have a barn yet. We just have the coop, which is okay, because like we've been focusing a lot on crops, and I've been mining, because mining is like my favorite thing to do in Stardew Valley. It always has been. Like even in Harvest Moon, I always would enjoy going off to the mines and stuff like that, just finding all these gemstones and everything. So we still have much more work to do, but we've been doing pretty good. The feel of, in my opinion, co-op versus solo is just so different, because with shared money, you've got tools that you've got to upgrade, but you've both got to upgrade them. So it takes a lot longer to be able to upgrade stuff because you both need it. When it's solo, yeah, you got to do more work for yourself, but you don't have to split money like that. So if you need tools upgraded, you need tools upgraded. You only need to do it once, not twice. But other than that, it's been a super great experience, and I'm very happy that my moderator has been really enjoying himself playing it, especially with me. So that's just more to look forward to. Alrighty, so now we're going to segue into the next part of the podcast, where I talk about the games, the projects that I want to eventually go back to, that I've either taken a bit of a break from, or just like played them a long time ago, and then other stuff came up and just never really got back to it. The first project being the Chaos Link. So I hinted at this a bit earlier. This is the project that Josie and I have been working on together. We've been doing Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. So basically, it's a bit of a tweak on Nuzlocke and Soul Link, so it's still randomized. We can still only get one catch per route. Once Pokemon's dead, it's dead. But there's a twist to it. And that twist is that if somebody encounters that Pokemon in the wild as a first encounter, we can either catch it or kill it, so our opponent can no longer use that Pokemon. And that's why we chose Fire Red and Leaf Green. We wanted to do something a little bit early on to increase the chances that we would find Pokemon that the opponent would have, so we could see some of this chaos. And so far, we haven't really been seeing any of it. We haven't been we have been finding Pokemon that the other has had, but not as a first encounter, unfortunately. So there really hasn't been a lot of chaos between the two of us. We haven't really been seeing a lot of Pokemon being stolen or killed, for example. Josie decided to modify the rules and had this whole thing planned out and worked out. It's in some kind of I don't know if it's a Google Doc or something, but he has some kind of picture of it with all the rules on it. And it was just a cool idea that he really wanted to try out. And I told him, I was like, you know what, I'd really like to try this out and do it with you. And I think we only streamed it like once or twice. And it's something that both of us have been meaning to get back to, but I know he's had a bunch of projects come up that he's wanted to work on, and I've also had a couple streaming projects to work on too. So we just kind of drifted apart from that for a bit, which is totally fine. Sometimes things happen, but we've been talking about coming back to it. And so hopefully when I'm done with this Nuzlocke, I can maybe take a bit of a break from Pokemon and then go back into the Chaos Link. And next up on the list of games I want to get back to would be none other than Valhalla. So Valhalla was actually a gift from Dr. Popping. I was talking with him one day, and I was like, I don't really know what I want to stream. I really don't want to do anything too energy intensive because I'm kind of like worn out, tired, but I still want to stream, but I want something chill. So he decided that he wanted to watch me play Valhalla. So to honor his gift, I decided to stream it for a bit. And I'm probably close to halfway done with the game. It's a visual novel, for those of you who aren't familiar with it. And it's pretty good. It's like a cyberpunk bartender game, dystopian future type of deal. And it's been pretty good. It's a little bit on the mature side, though, which doesn't bother me, but just saying, it's a little bit on the mature side. And I kind of stopped playing it. I don't really know why. Maybe because it's a lot of reading. Usually I'm not, like, too huge into visual novels, to be honest. There is, like, one visual novel series that I have played. It's called Fault, if you're familiar with it. But I've only played, like, 2 of their games. There's a third in the works, so I'm so excited for it to come out. But other than that, I really don't tend to play visual novel games, but I've actually really been enjoying Valhalla. I just need to get back to it. But again, like I said, it is a ton of reading. So being able to sit there and read that and then add my own commentary and then read and respond to chat, it just gets to be a lot. I usually just go through a ton of water anytime that I'm streaming Valhalla. So hopefully I'll be able to get back to that soon. And there's this forgotten game. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I don't know if or when I'm gonna get back to that game. As we found out, Sol maybe isn't as good at platforming as she thought. So I might try and get back to it. The part of the problem for me was it had been a really long time since I had played any kind of a Mario game. So getting back into the feel of how to platform in a Mario game was a little bit much. So, I don't know if I'm gonna play it, and it sucks because the day that I was trying to play it, funny enough, was on my birthday. I'd actually gotten the game as a gift, and I was really excited to be able to play it on stream. I was very excited, like, ooh, new game, we're gonna stream it, right at the day I get it, since we talked about how bad I am at starting new games that I get, and my internet was just being absolutely horrible. I don't know why, but my internet was just not allowing for me to stream, so I had to cut stream really short. And I don't know, people said it was painful to watch, and it probably was painful to watch because it was equally painful to play. I was making a lot of rookie mistakes and just messing up a lot, so I might end up getting back to it at some point if I can really get back into the feel of how to play a Mario game again. But we'll see. I was having fun when I was struggling with it, but again, we'll see. It depends on what other games are going to pop up in a queue for me to actually play, but we'll see what happens. But speaking of games that probably aren't my forte, let's talk about Hollow Knight. Honestly, Hollow Knight is an absolutely gorgeous game. I love it. The art style is fantastic. The music is amazing. Just everything about the game is great. Except the fact it's a Metroidvania game. For those of you who don't know, I get lost very, very easily. So for me, Metroidvania games are a bit of a struggle. And maybe more than I'd like to admit. Since it's very easy for me to get lost, it's all the backtracking that just kind of is a little bit infuriating, because you're from point A to point B, and then you're point B to point C, but then C to D, but then you're in D, and like, oh, I can go back to B and get that point. It's just a lot. And I prefer not to do backtracking in games, but you have to in Metroidvania games. That's the point of Metroidvania games, is to go back to areas you couldn't go to and be able to unlock new areas and do new stuff. But the problem is, there isn't really a lot of guidance in Metroidvania games. Not that that's a problem. I don't need a game to sit here and hold my hand, but with Metroidvania games, for me, it just, sometimes I kind of need that, like, bit of guidance, like, where do I go? I have all this stuff, but what does that mean? I've already gone to all these areas, I've gone here, I don't know what else to do, I don't know where else to go. And I think I kind of have an idea of where I need to go, but I'm stuck on this one boss. It is pretty challenging, and I don't know, it's just been a bit of a mess. There was one boss I remember fighting on stream, and it took me like an hour 45 minutes of struggling through the boss fight, and I finally did it. And it was an optional boss. I didn't even need to fight it at the time. It was a dream boss. So I could have just been like, nah, this is too hard. I'm just gonna pack my bags and go the other way. But I'm too stubborn for that. So I kept going until I won. Or until I broke and chat had me move on. But I don't like doing that. I don't like trying to be that, like, super stubborn wall of, I'm going to fight this until I win or I break. But that's just the kind of person I am. So I might end up trying to play Hollow Knight again, because I really do want to finish it before Silksong comes out, because I really do want to get that game as well, and hopefully I will be able to stream that. I've been thinking about maybe starting over Hollow Knight, but at the same time, I've already put in so many hours and so much work into it that I kind of don't want to, because I don't really feel like I'm going to get anything out of it. I don't think me restarting it is just going to magically help me figure out where to go. It's just probably going to make me more frustrated, because I've already done all this stuff already. So hopefully we'll be seeing more Hollow Knight, because again, it is an absolutely gorgeous game and I love playing it. So as we know, there are a couple of games that came out recently, some really big titles that I'm still kind of on the fence about streaming. One of which being Super Mario Maker 2. I've played a little bit of it, and I played a little bit of the story mode, and it's been pretty fun. I've been faring a lot better in that than I have been in Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, so maybe there might be some hope for me after all, but I really haven't touched too much on it. I don't know how fun that would be to stream. I've seen a lot of other people streaming it, and it looks fun, but I'm just not sure if going through all the levels and trying to beat them is just for me. I mean, I know there's a lot of troll levels out there. I know there's some stupidly hard levels, and I just don't know how enjoyable that would be for me and for chat to be able to, like, you know, sit there and watch and, you know, for me to play. I just don't know how much enjoyment I would get out of that. I might do the story mode, just because, you know, those are levels that aren't absolute bullshit, but I'm still kind of on the fence about it. Again, there are so many other games that have come out, and so many other games that I have in my library that I have not played that I kind of want to play, like Okami, for example, but we shall see. Another big title that came out recently was Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, I have never played a Fire Emblem game in my entire life, and I have seen quite a few people stream this game as well. And I don't know, for some reason this just seemed a bit different to me than all the other ones, so I decided to pick it up. I have not yet played it, but I was thinking about giving it a try soon. Whether it's going to be live or offline, I'm not sure, but I still would like to give it some kind of a chance. And who knows, maybe it'll be something that will be super enjoyable for me to stream, and maybe not, but I guess time will tell. I'll maybe just start it up for a bit, see if I like it, and see if I want to stream it, or if I just want to play it offline. I'm still on the fence if I want to get Luigi's Mansion 3. Kind of like Fire Emblem, how I've never played the Fire Emblem game, I've also never played a Luigi's Mansion game. I have watched a Luigi's Mansion game. Like my brother, for example, when I was a kid, we had Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, so I watched him play it when I was a kid, but I never played it myself. So I think this would kind of be like a fun way to get into the Luigi Mansion series, but I don't know. I don't know if it's something I really want to buy. I probably will, just because it looks great, but I don't really have the funds, so I'll probably have some kind of, like, donation. I mean, there is, like, a donation tab on my Twitch, so if anyone wants to donate and watch me play Luigi Mansion 3, awesome. If not, it's not a problem at all. I could probably get money from Patreon to be able to put toward getting Luigi Mansion 3 if I really want to, but honestly the game looks fantastic. I like how they've got the same mechanics as the older games, and they've even been like adding quite a few new stuff. I like the fact so far, and they showed this in the Direct a bit, which I'll talk about later, they have a lot of floor variation. I think that's so cool. It's like this thematic type of deal, so each floor is different from the last. I mean, they kind of did that like in Luigi's Mansion, not like with the floors being different, but each room was different in itself and had its own, you know, feel about it and its own environment, and the ghosts in each room were a bit different from the rest. So it'll be very interesting to see how this game develops, and I think it's so cute how it's releasing on Halloween. So who knows? Maybe I'll be able to do some kind of like Halloween stream with Luigi Mansion 3. I think that'd be cute. I could dress up in like costume and everything. But we'll see if I end up getting it, because I'm still on the fence about it, but if I do, then hopefully we can have some fun with it. Alrighty, so I probably bored all of you guys with all that talk about what games I've been playing and what I've been streaming, and if I have, sorry about that, but now we're going to get into a little bit more of the discussion of Well, of course, video games. We're going to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Direct, and I know, from the time that this will be posted, the Direct will have been a while before this, but hey, better late than never, right guys? So I guess I first want to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield a little bit, since that's kind of one of the games that I am most excited for. I've been a Pokemon fan for a very long time, and I've played since almost the very beginning, so I'm very excited about the next entry in the Pokemon main series. So I'm going to start with talking about, I guess, cosmetics. They really didn't go too much into detail about Sword and Shield, and I kind of was surprised. I thought they would have a little bit more information than they did. They didn't really give us much information, which, I mean, whatever. We got some cool stuff anyway, so at least some news and some stuff is better than nothing. So I want to talk about the cosmetics of the main character. And I think they did a really good job of implementing some of the things that you can do for your avatar. In the past, I always felt like they didn't really do super good a job at their character customization, because to me it always had that like same face, and you could always tell like, and that's still the main character, the base main character, and you can change some things, yeah, like the clothing and hairstyle, blah blah blah, but it still kind of looks like, you know, that stock image protagonist. And one of the cool things I really appreciate that they've been doing with Sword and Shield is that I feel like they've completely, not like taken that out, but they've done a good job at mitigating that. From looking at the cosmetics that they had so far, it definitely looked like there was a difference. Like, you could look at the stock image protagonist and you could look at a different character and see the difference. It wasn't, oh hey, yeah, it's just the protagonist of Sword and Shield. It actually looked like something that you can customize, and so I'm pretty excited about that. And then the other thing that I want to mention is the camp. I'm glad they're actually kind of doing something with that wide open space so it doesn't seem as empty. I think they could do a little bit more than just the camp, but from what I saw, the camp looked pretty darn good. And I think the idea of curry was pretty cool. Kind of reminded me a bit of Poffin. That same, like, oh, you gotta make it, and you can make different things the way you cook it, you know, if you do it too fat, blah, 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 all that. So I think the introduction of curry was pretty cool, and I think it's sweet that they have, like, a little bit of, like, I don't want to call it a menu, but they had that little sheet that helped you keep track of what you've made in the past. So I think that's pretty cool and a nice addition to the game as well. Hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit more with the camp, but I think they're still kind of fleshing that out. But if it is just presently what it is, then I guess it is what it is. But playing with your Pokemon sounds fun anyway, so hopefully that'll be good enough for us. Since Nintendo was kind enough to reveal more Pokemon, let's talk about some of those Pokemon. So they introduced 2 new Pokemon. It's Cramorant and Poltergeist. Haha, very funny pun, Nintendo, with Poltergeist. Anyway, I really like Cramorant. He is so cool looking. I like the idea that he can get, like, a fish when he dives or surfs, and then, like, when an enemy attacks, bam, throws it. It's like that. To me, that's funny. It's great. It's like a spite mechanic. Like, hey, you hit me, I'm gonna throw my fish at you because I'm mad. And I don't know. To me, I really like that idea. And I mean, water flying has been done before. We've seen that with Pelipper, we've seen that with Wingull, so that typing isn't anything new, but I don't know, I like the idea of Cramorant. I was actually joking earlier, there was a tweet that I had posted, I was like, oh my god, it's me, guys, it's me, I'm Cramorant. And I thought, one of the things I thought when I looked at Cramorant and that fish, I was like, what if that fish is a new Pokemon? It probably won't be, but what if it is? I think that'd be pretty cool. So it's like they introduced like 3 Pokemon instead of just 2. Not too crazy about Poltergeist. I mean, I don't know. Like, oh, trainers can drink out of it? Like, yeah, I don't know about that one, but I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the fact that we've got, you know, Cramorant because he's pretty cool. And I know this little tidbit was not talked about in the Direct, but there is a new Pokemon that has been not leaked, but it's being hinted at. That one glitchy Pokemon, and it's only fighting, but I don't know. People have been speculating it's Farfetch'd, and it kind of does look like Farfetch'd, but to me, looking at it, it almost looks like Cubone. like, the head part looks like Cubone, which kind of doesn't make any sense because Cubone already has Marowak as an evolution, and I can't imagine that they would make another evolution up from Marowak, and it didn't even look like it was a third evolution Pokemon. It did look like it was, you know, either base, so level 1, or just not any at all, like no more evolutionary lines. So, I don't know. People have drawn some really good fan art of Farfetch'd having a, you know, another evolution in its line, because it's one of the few that doesn't have one. It'd be really cool to see more representation for lines, Pokemon evolutionary lines that don't have any other than just one, like Girafarig, for example, and Stantler. But I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm pretty excited to find out. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, this almost looks like Missingno, but it's probably just something they blurred out just to be like, hey, we're gonna hide it and be secretive about it. You'll find out what it is later. But if they don't, and that actually is what the Pokemon is, then holy crap, we have Missingno. I think that'd be pretty cool. Well, moving onward, we're gonna talk a little bit about Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, they didn't really show us too much in the trailer about the game. I mean, we've already known a lot of the stuff that they already showed us, so there really isn't too much to talk about here. But I'm still generally excited. I've only played one Animal Crossing game. I also have played the mobile game a little bit. But it's still such a fun series. It's very Harvest Moon-esque for me, and like I mentioned earlier, I really love those types of games, so for me, this is actually pretty exciting, and I'm really much looking forward to being able to play it more. It seems like they have a lot of different and more in-depth customization of what you can do now with customizing your island, which I think is pretty neat. Customization is always something that's fun and really lets you make something yours. I think that's the thing that I really like about customizing things, is that you can make your mark on it, and it's yours. You can differentiate it from everyone else because, hey, that's something that you were able to put the time and thought into making. So not really too much new information on Animal Crossing, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more news as we get closer to the game's launch in March of next year. So I'm just going to continue down the list of all the things that they talked about, and by things I mean topics that they talked about at the Direct. I'm not going to spend any time on Kirby, and I'm not going to spend any time on Luigi Mansion 3, because I already talked a little bit about those, especially since Kirby has already come out since, you know, the Direct obviously came out that day. So I already talked about that earlier in the podcast. Now I'm enjoying it, really loving it. So we're just gonna scoot past those two, and I guess we're gonna talk a little bit about Overwatch. I know, Overwatch, right? Coming to Switch, because everybody wanted Overwatch on Switch. Not really surprised it came to Switch, but I'm indifferent. I don't really care. It's probably not gonna run as well on the Switch as it does on the PS4, on PC, for example, but whatever. If that's the move they want to do, then go for it, because Overwatch probably makes them a lot of money. I mean, they've got all the loot boxes and everything, so it seems like a smart business move to put it on the Switch. It's just appealing. Being able to play Overwatch on the go, whenever you want. You can take the toxicity with you wherever you go. Isn't that wonderful, guys? There are a couple here, too, that I don't really have too much of an opinion on, like Obradin. I don't know. It looks alright. Not really much to say on that. Trials of Mana, it looked pretty decent. I don't really know anything about the series, but it looked pretty fun, so I'm gonna maybe try and keep an eye on that one, see if it's something I might want to dip into later, but at the moment, not really feeling it, but it looked pretty good. Graphically, it looked really nice, so it's probably gonna be great. If you played it before, then awesome. There's also Small Town, which also, again, looked pretty good. I think they talked about it before, because I looked at it and I thought to myself, this looks really familiar, and I feel like they've talked about this game before. So either they've talked about it before and it kind of slipped through the cracks, or they are just bringing it up now after talking a little bit about it at E3, because they might have done that. But interesting concept. Again, another game I'm not really sure if I'm going to get or not, but I'm going to keep an eye out on it and see if it's something that I might be interested in down the line. I guess we should talk a little bit about Smash, shouldn't we, guys? Well, as everybody knows, Banjo and Kazooie finally made it to Smash, and everybody's excited except me. Not really a big Banjo-Kazooie fan. I don't have a good reason for why. I just don't like it because I knew somebody who talked about it all the time and it made me hate it. Bad reason? Yes, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm still not terribly a fan of it. I've actually not played Smash in a while, even before Banjo and Kazooie got push to Smash. I haven't really been playing it much recently. I really only play it with friends, so I haven't really had any of my friends asking to play, so in theory I haven't really been, playing Smash much. But that's okay. I'm excited that they're coming out with more fighters. I had a feeling that was going to happen, so that means the pick that I want for Smash is still alive. For those of you who do not know, I really want to see some Paper Mario representation in Smash because I think it would give a unique and new dimension and twist to Smash because we've never seen any Paper Mario representation, and I think Count Bleck would be an amazing addition to Smash. I think he's got some really good move potential because of the Dark Prognosticus and stuff like that. With just casting or whatever, I think he would be a really cool fit and something different for Smash, but it's probably never gonna happen. It's just one of those things that I can wish and dream for, but that's okay. Maybe one day. And even if not, hoping to see some just different character representation. They've been doing really good from getting other franchises. I think that's something very cool, and they need to keep doing that. They're on the right track, but who I want to see, I don't really know. I'm not going to be too picky about it. When Joker came to Smash, I was indifferent about it. I wasn't like, oh my god, it's Joker! But I wasn't like, oh boy, Joker's on Smash. Kind of the same thing with Hero. I didn't really, mind too much. But I wasn't super excited about it either. You could say the same thing about Terry too. Not upset he's in Smash because I didn't know who he was, but I thought the trailer for his announcement was actually really cool. I'm not going to really spend much time talking about Link's Awakening because they really didn't show us anything new either, and that's probably a theme for this Direct. For the most part, for the games that we did know about, they really didn't show us anything really new. There is stuff that they showed us that we already knew or just didn't really touch a lot on some of the things. So I'm still excited for it though. Can't wait to play it. The dungeon maker thing seems really cool and I'm probably going to try it out. But very excited about that. So I'm just going to keep moving on past that. I don't really have an opinion on Dragon Quest either. Don't really have an opinion on Tokyo Mirage. Same thing with Deadly Premonition. I know, pretty boring, right? Well, the Direct for me wasn't super oh my god, look at all this cool stuff. It was again cool to be able to see the titles that I was excited about and excited to see even just a little bit new information. But we really didn't get terribly much information on the stuff that we already knew about. But I was surprised to see Divinity Original Sin 2. Now, for those who don't know, I actually have played Divinity Original Sin 2, and I've actually played Divinity Original Sin on different platforms. I played Divinity Original Sin 2 first on PC, played it with Loomby. We streamed it a bit, or either he streamed it and I just played with him, or I think we both streamed it. So we went through that a little bit together, never really got terribly far in it. I think we were playing with one of our friends and he just never really did it, and we just never got back to it, unfortunately, but I was enjoying playing Divinity Original Sin, and one of my other friends had asked me, hey, I have Divinity, and I have, no one to play it with on PS4, so I went out and bought it, just to kind of surprise him and be hey, look, we can play Divinity together. I played the second one, so I kind of know what I'm doing, and they're two vastly different games. Well, not vastly, but it feels like they're vastly different. There's a couple of things that they decided to change from 1 to 2. I'm sorry, my brain went backwards for a second because I played Divinity 2 first. Anyway, so there was a couple things that they had changed, and I was oh wow, this is quite a bit different than what I was expecting. But it's a really fun game, and I'm really happy to be seeing it on Switch. It's kind of D&D-esque. It's got character creation, you get to cast spells and all that, so if you really like D&D, maybe consider keeping an eye out for this one. It's a pretty decent title, and I'm very excited about it. I'm not going to be getting it on Switch because I already have it on PC, but I don't know, maybe I'll go back to playing Divinity Original Sin 2 again. Moving right along, we're going to talk about the Super Nintendo. I was pretty excited to see that the SNES was getting some games on the Switch. I never really had the chance to play the SNES or the N64 or all those really older retro ones. The earliest console that I ever had from Nintendo was the GameCube, so it's pretty nice to see some of these getting onto the Switch via, the online thingamajig. So that's pretty exciting stuff. I really hope that they do bring stuff that's a little bit I don't want to say like newer than that, but I guess when you're going from that far back going forward, it is still kind of newer. Having some either like Game Boy or DS or probably not GameCube, but it would be really cool to see some GameCube on here, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. I don't even know what games on the GameCube I'd want on there, but there are some really good GameCube titles, so anything's possible, I guess, but it's really cool to be able to see that they're developing this a little bit more. And who knows, maybe they'll add some other games than what they've announced, and if they do, then awesome, but if not, hopefully they'll have something else in the works for us like they've been doing with this. Now we have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. And I don't know why, but I keep forgetting that this is even coming to Switch. I keep forgetting that this is a game that is being worked on right now. And I don't really feel like that it's been getting the press that it deserves. I don't know. To me, I just don't really feel like they've been talking about it too much. I mean, you hear about it every so often, but again, like when they had the Direct, I was like, oh right, that's a game, and it's coming to Switch. When? I don't know, but we're getting it. I've been playing these series since the Wii version, and I never got to play it on the one that came out for the Wii U, because that was the one generation that I had skipped. I was in that like phase of not really getting consoles or anything, so I completely went from the Wii to the Switch, and honestly, I didn't really miss too much, because all the games that have been on the Wii U, most of them have already been ported over to the Switch, and have had additional things added, so, I haven't really missed too much. But it'll be nice to see this game again. I might get it at some point, because this was always a game that I did enjoy playing. It was always kind of cool being able to play as the Sonic characters, as the Mario characters, whatever, and just play the Olympic Games. I actually really do like the Olympics. I do enjoy watching, like, the Winter Olympics, for example, like figure skating and all that stuff. It's actually really cool to watch. So it'd be really interesting to play this, so hopefully I'll be able to give this game a shot, but if not, oh well, hopefully I can watch some people stream it or something, I don't know. I guess one of the other big things, too, that came out of this Direct was the fact that another Xenoblade game is coming to Switch that's being remade. And I never really got into the Xenoblade series, so I don't really have too much to say on this either. But I guess people are pretty excited for it. But I will say the graphical difference between the two is really dramatic. I was like, oh wow, they actually did a really good job with this. So I know people are really excited about it, and I hope that it turns out to be a really decent title for those who are interested. I don't think I'm ever really going to give this series a shot. It just never really looked like something I was going to enjoy. But I hope people are going to enjoy it who are looking forward to it. And of course, how could I have forgotten the last thing I will say about Smash for this podcast? Sans is in Smash! Not actually, though. As a costume for the Mii Gunner. Now, everyone freaked out about this, and I'm just sitting over here like, okay. Like, I have Undertale, never really played it, but everyone's super hyped about it. They really like the game, and they're really excited to see Sans in Smash. I don't know, I think it's kind of funny, but I'm not gonna sit here and freak out about it, but good to you, Undertale, for getting into Smash. And I'm, like I said, just happy that everyone who wanted Sans in Smash gets to actually have a little piece of Undertale in Smash. Maybe they'll decide to put in Sans or Papyrus or some of the other characters from Undertale into Smash. That would really be something now, wouldn't it? So yeah, I think that pretty much about wraps it up for what I wanted to say on the Direct. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to talk about, but they really didn't give us much to talk about to begin with. I guess I'll just project a little bit into the future and talk about some of the games that I really want to see more information about. Pokemon Sword and Shield, obviously. Animal Crossing, New Horizons. I don't really think we're going to get terribly much more information on Luigi's Mansion 3 by the time it gets released, and that's completely fine. I think we already have a pretty strong basis on what the game is going to be anyway, so I don't really think they need to talk about it too much. I think people who already know they're going to get it are going to get it, and people who don't know if they want it or not are just going to sit and wait and see what it's going to turn out to be. There's also Minecraft Dungeons. This game looks great. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks pretty freaking good. I really like Minecraft, I guess that wasn't really obvious, but obviously I've played my Minecraft. Most gamers have played Minecraft. It's just a classic, so I'm honestly looking forward to Minecraft Dungeons. I think it's going to be a great game. But other than that, I don't really think there are too many titles that are on the back burner that Nintendo is working on that I'm really that excited for. Though that may change depending on, other games that might get released. But Nintendo has always done a really decent job at being able to surprise people. Like sometimes during Direct, like, oh my god, this looks amazing. What? It's out now? Sick! So maybe we'll have some more games like that that'll come along the way, and if not, then I'm pretty excited for the lineup that we've got right now. Nintendo has been doing a wonderful job with what they've got, and I know that they're going to continue to do a good job moving forward with the titles that they haven't even announced yet. Well, looks like we covered everything that I set out to cover on our roadmap here for the first podcast, so thank you everyone so much for listening. And of course, a huge thank you for being patient with me as well. This has been a bit of a learning process. I'm still learning how to be a podcaster and how to use video editing software. I actually spent a lot of time going back into my recordings and editing them to sound the way I wanted to sound, and I actually got rid of a lot of recordings too. I had gone through originally and did a couple recordings, and I didn't like how they sounded, and I knew that I could do better, so I completely scrapped them and started over. And I only was probably about like half an hour, maybe 20 minutes in, but I still thought I could do better and wanted to do better, so I just decided to start all over. And I've spent hours sitting behind the computer in my video editor just going through and tweaking things, and I've been sitting here behind my mic recording, and oh my god, I hate the sound of my voice now. After listening to the sound of my voice so many times, so long in the video editor, it's like, god, I don't want to listen to me. I'm sorry I have to put these people through listening to my voice as well. I'm very excited to be doing these for you, and I really hope that you guys look forward to listening to these. I'm probably going to have another poll to figure out what I'm going to be doing next, and who knows, maybe I'll have some friends join me along the way. Like, for example, if people decide they want to listen to a podcast about Monster Hunter, I'll probably bring some of the boys on and we can just sit and talk about Monster Hunter the entire time. Who knows? If you like this podcast, though, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can listen to more podcasts that I'll hopefully be producing. If you do want to catch me live, you can find me at twitch.tv/Solaria75, and I'll put the link down at the bottom. If you're feeling generous, you by no means have to, but if you would like to support me as a podcaster/streamer, then you can come support me on Patreon. The link will also be down in the description below, and you will be rewarded for your kindness, believe me, but you don't have to at all. Completely optional. You being here and listening to my podcast is support enough for me. And of course, I will do like a Q&A thing as well, so if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask them in the comments below, and in the next podcast, I will be glad to answer them for you. And I think that's about all the time that I've got for us today, so until next time, goodbye now!